time for the 6 at 6 on 95.7 KCMO Talk Radio.
The top 6 stories you need to know this morning. Here we go.
Number 1.
Well, speaking of the Lee Summit cop who was shot by Thomas Tolbert allegedly over the weekend, who is now, of course, in an Ellis County jail cell on a $2 million cash bond, that Lee Summit cop has been identified as Jared Timbrook. And Timbrook, who was shot 4 times on Sunday, has now been released from the hospital. He was shot while pursuing the suspect, believed to be Tolbert, in this domestic violence case, treated at the scene by fellow officers, transported to a trauma center by Lee Summit Fire Department paramedics. And he's fairly new to the department, been there for only 18 months, 7 years of prior law enforcement experience, but he has been released from the hospital, so thank God for that.
Number 2.
Well, the Royals winning 10-7 last night in St. Louis against the Cardinals, but Mark was hoping for a big parlay day for his guy Jack Caglione, making his Major League Baseball debut after getting called up from AAA. And how did old Jack do yesterday there, Mark?
You know, he went 0 for 5, but the offense is averaging 10 runs per game while he's in the lineup, so we'll take that.
I love that. I love that. You can use stats to tell whatever story you want in sports, and that is one of them. The Royals averaging 10 runs per game with Jack Caglione in the lineup after an 0 for 5 debut. That's beautiful there, Mark. Nice job there, buddy. Well, we'll keep it rolling tonight. They will continue that series in St. Louis as the Royals and the Cardinals playing each other with, of course, the backdrop being this special session in Jeff City, which is kind of a fascinating twist to that entire dramatic fallout.
Number 3.
Well, let's keep it on the baseball front here. A fan was struck by falling concrete at Dodger Stadium the other night. And I'm bringing this up because a part of me's got to be like, the Royals are jealous of this, aren't they? The Royals so desperately. I mean, listen, they would never admit it. But don't you think the Royals would love for a piece of concrete to hit somebody in the head at the K? They would love it. I mean, they've been talking about this concrete cancer. We got to get out of Kauffman Stadium. They would never say it out loud. I'm not saying they want anybody to get hurt. But when they saw the story of this man getting hit by a piece of concrete that fell from Dodger Stadium, there's got to be a part of them that said, dang it, that could have been us. So the man who was hit, his name was Ricardo Aquino. He is a Mexico City resident, and he was struck in the back of the head during the 3rd inning of the Dodgers' 8-5 win over the Yankees over the weekend. And after the incident, the Dodgers installed a small section of protective netting. Notice what they're not doing. They're not saying, like, time for a new stadium. They're just going to evaluate it under a long-term review process and put some netting there. What a novel concept.
Number 4.
For the 6 at 6, number 4, we have the steel tariffs going into effect today. That is happening, of course. President Trump set to ratchet up the steel tariffs to 50%. And according to NBC News, American steelmakers will most likely be able to charge higher prices as demand for domestic sources of metal increases. What this does to the broader economy, of course, remains to be seen. But per NBC here, Trump signed an executive order increasing the 25% tariff level on steel imports that he first set in March to 50%. And it went into effect at midnight this morning. So the new 50% duties also affect aluminum products. So that is now in effect. We will see what kind of impact that has on the U.S. economy.
And the stadium
Number
prices
5.
go up.
What's that?
And the stadium prices go up again.
I didn't even think about that. Good little tidbit there. All right, we'll keep it rolling here for the 6 at 6. All right, let's go to this freak. I got this push notification on my phone yesterday that Palm Beach police had to arrest a man who jumped the wall at Mar-a-Lago, telling cops that he wanted to marry President Trump's teen granddaughter, Kai. 23-year-old Anthony Thomas Reyes was busted just after midnight and confessed to arresting officers that he had scaled the wall surrounding Mar-a-Lago in an effort to try to marry 18-year-old granddaughter of the President of the United States, Kai Trump. Man, there are some mentally unwell people out there, and this guy is apparently top of the list.
Number 6.
And last for the 6 at 6, egg prices. You're not going to hear about this from some in the media. Egg prices have dropped 61% since Trump took office. They are plunging after spiking to an all-time high in March. White, large shell eggs are now $2.52 per dozen. On January 21, the same carton would have run Americans $6.49. Let's go! Woo! How about that? There's your 6 at 6 on KCMO Talk Radio.